Inside is a story about control, how systems enforce it, how individuals resist it, and how players unknowingly participate in it. Through its puzzles, environments, and the boy's journey, the game reveals that the freedom we think we have is often just another layer of manipulation. Inside never tells you who you are. It never tells you why you're running. But from the moment the boy slides down that hill, you understand one thing immediately. This world does not want you here. Hey everyone, Coltar here, and today we're going to be taking a look at a game called Inside. Just like Limbo, it was developed by Playdead and released on June 29, 2016. Very similar playstyle as well. It's a 2.5D side-scrolling puzzle platformer with a sci-fi horror-like atmosphere. If you haven't already, I highly recommend you go check out my Limbo video after watching this one. Playdead builds stories out of silence. Just like with Limbo, they trust you to find your way forward. And the deeper you go, the more you realize that Inside isn't a story about escape. It's a story about control. This was my first time playing Inside, and it was truly beautiful yet suffocating. If at any moment during this video you feel like you want to play it for yourself, I highly recommend you do so. Stop watching this, go play it, because it's best experienced as a player and it truly can only be experienced once. So again, if you want to play it yourself, go pick it up, play it, then come back and watch this video afterwards. Now, I say we get started. We start off alone in some forest. Sounds familiar. We soon see a truck off in the distance. In order to get closer, we need to get past these barricades and slide down the hill. The truck is full of people, and as we approach, they close the trailer. We immediately start sneaking, showing us that we need to avoid being seen. If the truck full of people didn't already make that obvious. The truck pulls away and we make it past them. As we jump down the nearby hill, we make some noise alerting the people nearby. We manage to sneak past them and find ourselves in front of a concrete wall. We move the nearby fridge, and we use it to jump over the wall. We eventually find ourselves at a river and attempt to cross it. After narrowly escaping the dog, we find ourselves running next to a road where more people, whoever they are driving down, assumably looking for us. We barely avoid them as we hide underneath this large chunk of rock. Ahead, we find ourselves in another clearing. This time, the vehicle's lights are shining right at us. As we make it this far, I realize something. The forest is a perfect beginning. You're small, you're vulnerable, and you don't know who these men are or why they're even chasing you. The game teaches you through panic. You learn to hide because the headlights sweep across the trees. You learn to run because dogs start chasing you out of nowhere. There is no time to think, and that's the point. Going over all this made me realize that this is Inside's first lesson. You don't get to choose the terms of your survival. You react, you obey, and you move. What gets me about this section is how instinctive it feels. You're not making decisions, you're just trying not to die. And honestly, sometimes that's how control works. You don't notice it until you're already following the rules. As we get out of the water, we find a couple of dead pigs. We cross the road and make our way through a cornfield. On the other side of the field, we find ourselves next to a barn. This time, instead of a couple pigs, there's a pile of them. But hey, Looks like we have a bunch of little chicks following us. We climb into the barn and find some kind of large machine. As we start it and pull the lever, it starts to suck in some of what's on the ground next to it and spit it out of the top. Interestingly, there's a hay bale on the rafter in front of it, and there's a wall we need to get past. I think I see where this is going. We open the barn door and let the chicks in. Next, we turn on the machine and have it suck them in and shoot out at the hay bale. Luckily, they're all okay, and we can move the hay bale. As we climb up and out of the barn, we can clearly see that it's seen better days. Honestly, everything around here looks like it's been abandoned or something worse. We make it to the end of the roof and can see a cart full of more dead pigs. With nowhere else to go, we leap of faith into the cart. These ones are covered in maggots? I guess that makes sense given they're dead, but these are huge. We push the cart and climb over the nearby fence, and then another fence. Here, we find the ground full of more pigs and these parasites. Some not even on the pigs. Honestly, in my opinion, this is clearly where the game stops being subtle. Dead pigs everywhere, parasites crawling out of the ground, people being taken away or nowhere to be seen. It kind of feels like, in a way, the world may have ended. Okay, definitely wasn't expecting that. With the pig dealt with, we find ourselves in a large building with what looks like people in the background, slouched over and some thing hanging from the ceiling. We have nowhere to go, so we move the pig under the thing and jump up to it. It allows us to control the people in the background. This is the moment, in my opinion, Inside reveals what it's really about. You're not just escaping control, you're participating in it. You put on this helmet type thing and bodies move. Not enemies, not zombies, just people, or what's left of them. It's unsettling, but it's also clever. The game is teaching you that control isn't always violent. Sometimes it's quiet, mechanical, routine. To be honest, this part made me quite curious, and I also found it pretty cool, but it also made me feel a little uncomfortable. You're solving puzzles, sure, but you're also literally puppeteering these people, and the game doesn't judge you for it. Somehow that makes it worse. We make it out of the building and finally see some daylight, but whatever waits beyond that wall feels far darker. As we get closer to the wall, we see a lineup of people and what I'm assuming is the truck we saw earlier in the forest. We run past them, move this cart, which lowers a chain, and then climb it. Next, we open a window and crawl through it. Inside is a large open building. There's a safe, precariously sitting on a couple boards. I take it we need to get up there. Further in, we find a ladder. We climb up, jump off, and pull a lever on the wall to adjust the boards hanging next to us. With those moved, we can jump on them and up to the platform with the safe. We push the safe off the boards, again, this kid is strong, and run back to avoid being pulled down with it. Down on the floor where the safe fell, there's now a hole we jump into. It appears we're in some sort of subway. Ahead is a lever that opens a door as well as another mind control helmet. We jump into the helmet and move the people so they're on both pressure plates. This opens the door next to us. Here, we find another ladder. This one takes us up to the rooftop. Up here, we find another roof that we need to slide down and jump onto a pipe on another wall. We move rooftop to rooftop and find a board we can walk across to reach another window. We make it into the building and jump to another building. Here we see many people walking in lines, mindlessly, yet in perfect rhythm. After climbing down the wall and ripping the boards off the doorway, we find ourselves in a building with these odd machines and bodies on the floor nearby. We hide from their lights to avoid, well, this. After getting past them and riding up the elevator, we once again cross over to another building. Here we follow in line, jumping when others do, spinning as well. In general, behaving just as everyone else does in order to avoid being noticed. This is the moment of the game that showed me that this city is a monument to obedience. Rows of workers marching in perfect rhythm, watched by faceless authorities. To survive here, you have to blend in. You have to pretend to be controlled. And honestly, it's a brilliant game design. You're performing conformity, literally matching the movements of the people around you. In my opinion, it's one of the most memorable moments in the game. On one hand, visually and aesthetically, it's really interesting and cool and, again, uncomfortable. On the other hand, it shows that this world doesn't just punish disobedience. It erases individuality. We continue following the line into the next room, periodically stopping when everyone else stops. We trick the dog by waiting in the lower area, then climb up and jump out of the window before it can catch up. We ended up jumping right into another mind control helmet. We control the person on the tracks and have them push us to the other side. After a couple more puzzles, we find ourselves above a large door. We have the person pull the lever and we drop into the water below before it can close again. As we get out of the water, we find ourselves in what looks like a testing facility or lab of sorts. We push this big red button and it lowers the water in the neighboring room. The button in that room fills it back up. When full, the door up top also closes. We hit the button in the water-filled room and swim up quickly so we can get into the next room. Here, we find a large suitcase. We fill the room back up with water and climb onto the chain above where we put the suitcase. We climb onto a rooftop and see a train carting off more people in the background. We also see a searchlight below us. We avoid it and turn the wheel at the far end of the roof, bringing down a cage of people next to us. We then jump into the cage and out the other side where we have to avoid a couple more searchlights and drop into a hatch. We carefully climb down further below and find ourselves in another subway, this one filled up with sand and abandoned far longer than the previous one. We sneak past some dogs feasting on something in the background and jump into a flooded area. As we get away from this dog, we run into 3 more. Here, we need to remove the boards from the doorway before the dogs can reach us, climbing over the fence multiple times to keep them away. Once through the door, we block it with a nearby cabinet. We find ourselves climbing down a ladder as we look over a massive facility. While it looks abandoned, I wonder if there's anyone around. It doesn't take us long to find out. We climb down the ladder and steal the submarine the person just left behind. This is the part of the game with some of the most stunning visuals it has to offer. Honestly, it really gets me excited for whatever Playdead makes next. As we dive further below, we find a closed door. We ram the submarine into it. Soon after, we find a boarded up hole in the ground, which we promptly smash through as well. Showing the massive scale of the area we're in, we finally find ourselves next to a cracked wall. As you can probably guess, we smash through it as well. Honestly, amazed that this submarine can still function. As we continue to go deeper, we move from room to room and eventually find another cracked wall. This one we can't smash through though, but we can break it enough that we can slip through. So, we get out of the submarine and swim right through. On the other side, we find a rope we can climb up into another part of the facility. Here, we press a button that releases several large cylinders. We narrowly avoid them and make our way into the room they rolled out of. Here, we find some sort of man-made forest within a massive warehouse-like building. Whatever's going on here is still a mystery to me. This is definitely a research facility or lab given what we've seen so far though. We use a pull cord on this cube-like machine and it blasts up the pole it's attached to. We ride it up and jump onto the ledge to our left. Ahead, we find a button that opens the large door next to where we left the submarine behind. We get back in and... Did you just see that? Hold on. What is that? It looks like a child, but how can it be staying underwater like this? We get back to the submarine and get enough momentum to jump out of the water and through the doorway. Ahead, we find a boarded up door and, well, you already know. After solving the puzzle in the next room, we find another boarded up door and go through. After that failed attempt to escape, we can see that the girl is stunned by our light. We move forward, periodically shining the light at the girl in order to get away. We close a large door, barricading the girl from reaching us, and we smash through a boarded up hole above us. We soon end our submersible journey as we find a shoreline? A massive sand-covered area stretches in front of us, large buildings ahead and in the background. We find a door and go through. We see some people behind a barred door to our left. Unable to open it, we go to our right. We find what looks like an elevator and continue moving forward. Here we find a couple more people, what looks like a pressure pad and a wall that pulsates. As we pull the lever nearby, it reveals a large number 19 on the wall. Unsure of what that means, we go back to the elevator. It looks like pulling that lever did more than turn on the number lights. Power to the elevator was also restored. We go up. To the left is a large cage with more people, but we can't move it. To the right is a gap we can't jump across just yet, so we now go all the way down on the elevator. Once again, we go left. This time, we find a large cart that we are unable to move. To the right, we find a wheel and continue forward. Here, we find a ladder with a steep drop and several people below. We go back to the wheel and turn it, lowering the platform we're on. We then run past the people we saw and swim through this flooded section of the area. On the other side, we climb out of the water and climb up a broken section of the wall. Swinging from rope to another ledge, we continue forward. At the end of this path, we can see another mind control helmet. We jump onto it. So, even though it broke off, we can still use it by wearing it. Not only that, but these people are now following us. We have the people raise us up to the ladder and we lower the platform again, allowing our new friends to come up with us. Now, we return to the large cart to the left of the elevator and pull it back before a hole in the ceiling. It begins to roll back, so we have our friends raise us to the rope nearby and we drop down onto the cart. Once the cart rolls back far enough, we then jump over to the ledge. We climb up the next ledge and continue across the water. We push the crate off the cube and pull the cord. won't go high enough though. So we pull the cord again and slip the crate underneath it so it can start higher up. Then we pull the cord for the last time, stay on it, and jump over to the small hanging cage and free some more people. We make our way back to the elevator, now with 3 more people added to the group, and ride the elevator all the way to the top. We push the cage to the left off the platform and go to the right. Here we have our friends raise us up and throw us to the other side of the platform. We find one person laying on the ground and drag them over, dropping them to the first floor below. We then jump back over and go down the elevator to the first floor. We run to the left, gathering the people from the now broken cage, and go all the way to the left to open the barred door we first encountered. Here, we find more people stuck in a minecart. We have our friends throw us over to a platform with a lever on it, and with the power of a little momentum, we move the people in the cart over to our side. Let's try that again. With even more new friends, we go all the way back to the pulsating wall and have everyone stand on the pressure plate. This lowers the number from 19 to 0, opening the wall. Our friends don't follow, and we get hit by the shockwave of one of the pulses, knocking off the helmet. We also find a large crate, and we push it to the right. Okay, so I wasn't expecting that. Knowing what this can do to us, we push the crate again and wait for the next pulse. We run to the next wall and see a lever ahead. After the next pulse, we quickly pull the lever and it raises another wall. We wait for the next pulse and run once again. As we reach a large wall, we see another lever and a moving barricade of sorts. The lever stops it from moving while it's held, so we time it so we can climb the ladder as it covers us. At the top, we wait for it so we can jump down and it protects us from the next pulse. Then we move to the nearby rock wall and find another cube. We wait for the next pulse, pull the cord, and ride it up, jumping off just in time. We find ourselves in a room with what looks like crash test dummies and another lever. Pulling it opens the shutters on the walls, so we run behind the shield-like barricade. We move it forward so it can protect us along the way. Okay, so not completely safe apparently. We wait for the pulse to hit, then we move it across to the next bar. This way it can continue to block the pulse. At the end of the pathway, we find another large rotating machine and time our jump so it can block the pulse. We then slide down the nearby ledge and run into the nearby room. Finally away from whatever that was, we find another elevator. Oh, crap. We quickly open the elevator door and swim up to the hatch above. Out of the water, we fly up with another cube and swing from a rope to the nearby ledge. Here, we find another lever. When pulled, it opens a door to our right. We quickly swing from the rope and jump through before it can close again. We end up in another flooded area and swim to the other side. After figuring out our way through this cube puzzle, we end up dropping into the tank ahead. We quickly grab onto the rope, narrowly avoiding the girl. This area requires us to get far enough ahead of the girl that we can reach the nearby ropes and platforms. Eventually, we find ourselves at a platform with a chain above. We hit the button, lowering it into the water, drawing the girl to us. As the chain goes back, we then jump to the platform, then into the water. We quickly hit the button and swim through the closing door. We climb the nearby ladder and swing over to the next platform. We soon find a circular door and go through, once again encountering the water girl. We once again trick her with another door. Don't know why she's so easily tricked, but maybe it's just the way she was created. We begin to swim around to find our way out of here. Interestingly, we can now breathe underwater. Whatever she did, it ended up helping us. Was this what she intended all along? We swim from room to room, eventually finding ourselves next to this fan chamber of sorts. Once through, we end up walking through a room full of corpses and other stuff. On the other side of the room, we find another area with searchlights. We sneak our way through, avoiding the light, and see a large tank below. We dive in. We climb out and walk into whatever this room is. We managed to jump into the water above by finding another cube and placing it above the other one, setting them off sequentially. We swim past the bodies, many of them malformed, missing parts, and most notably, those parasites are sticking out of them. We then pull what looks like some kind of rods out of the sphere above, and it opens the hatch. After climbing out of the water and out of the sphere, we find ourselves in a large open room with a cage full of people. To the left is a box that we start moving. We move the box into the next room where we see people in an observation room above. We solve the puzzle and move into the next room. We drop into the water and can see we're in another body of water with hanging bodies in it. Or maybe they're floating? We find a lever on the wall that raises the water, dropping all the bodies down. They begin to follow. I guess whatever the girl did removed the need for the helmets as well? They help us lower the water again, and to the right, they help us get back into the water so we can hit this button hanging from the ceiling. We continue to run with our new group of friends, finding more as we go, and they then toss us over to an office room looking over the complex. We see some people running into the doorway below. We go back to the pit they all fell into and jump in. They manage to catch us and help us get into the vent above. We go back and find an elevator that they're all standing on and raise it. This way they can follow us again. Once back down, we open the door with their help and begin running through the large room we saw from above. Another person running in the background as well. We make our way into more offices, leaving our friends behind. People running in the background as we progress. We eventually find more observation rooms. On the far end, we see everyone has gathered next to a large window. Interestingly, no one seems bothered by us being here. We move this cart and begin climbing up behind them. We find more people looking in from above. Many appear to be scientists. Some even notice the noise we make, but aren't bothered. We make our way down to the other side and find ourselves beneath the large observation tank everyone was looking into. We remove these clamps and pull the lever above, starting the fan below. We grab onto the handle at the bottom, opening the door above, and then... You know, this is the moment that really shows us that these labs are where this world's secrets stop hiding. Scientists watching experiments with a cold detachment, and you start to wonder if this boy is escaping or being guided. The underwater girl is one of the freakiest moments in the game. At first, she's a threat. Then, she becomes something else entirely. And the scientists, they don't try to stop you. Sometimes, they're even watching you with curiosity. It's unsettling because it kind of feels like you're a part of the experiment now. I personally find that this is where the game really blurs the line between victim and participant. You're breaking in, but it feels like you're being allowed in. And then, the game stops pretending. As we're sucked into the chamber, well, first off, we lose our clothes, but everyone is outside just watching. Then we find exactly what they've been watching this whole time. Some kind of amalgamation made up of bodies. We start tearing off these cables attached to it. Okay, yeah, really wasn't expecting that. Now we control whatever we've become. We move to the window and tear off the device attached. Free of the chamber, we begin smashing through the complex. While this transformation was horrifying, it's also kind of liberating. You lose control of your body, but you gain such overwhelming strength. But now, the gameplay completely shifts. As we get down the stairs, someone closes the door and, well, we just rip it off. We continue wreaking havoc through the offices, powerful but clumsy, and make it back to our friends. They help us reach the doorway we came through and go to the elevator. We break out of the display, grab this network rack, climb the wall, and then crash into the room below, trampling past and over scientists as we go. After barreling through this doorway, it looks like we may have found the manager's office and the manager as well. Oof, sucks to be him. We lift this large beam and press the button above. Dogs attack, but we just ignore them. We make our way up this platform and dive off the other ledge. Here we find a lone scientist. We stay back while they open the door, then they wave us through. We go through the door and another scientist opens a hatch for us. We drop in. Above, we see a hole and a conveniently placed flammable sign. We grab the crate on the ground next to us and throw it at the button above the door to our left, allowing us into the next room. Here, we tear off a door that leads into a furnace and throw in the crate. We then make our way back to where we fell and toss the burning crate into the hole above, causing it to ignite. We progress to our right and into a large open room where we drag these large carts under the crane-type vehicle. We swing on it, and the scientists on the ledge above help us by hooking onto it, which tears the wall apart. We climb through the wall and continue to get more help from the scientists. Are they helping because they're trying to save themselves, or is this all intentional? Once through the door, we're in a large room full of people in the background and a cube strung in front of us like a carrot on a stick. We tear the wall apart and squeeze through. As we get out of the water, we find ourselves in a large room that looks like it may finally be our way out. This has been pure chaos, yet it's also been quite revealing. This is the only time of the game where you feel unstoppable, but even then, it doesn't feel like freedom. It feels like you're doing exactly what you're designed to do. The scientists along the way just prove this. We're just following the momentum, and that momentum carries you straight into the ending. Literally. It looks peaceful, almost gentle, but peace inside always feels suspicious. Some people see this as freedom, others see it as the final step in the experiment. And honestly, both interpretations make sense. The game never tells you what the ending means because the meaning is the point. Honestly, I feel conflicted. It's beautiful, but it doesn't feel like victory. It feels like release, but not necessarily freedom. But maybe that's exactly what the game wants. Looking back, every part of Inside reinforces the same idea. Control is everywhere. In systems, in bodies, in players. The game never gives you answers. And that's exactly why the game has stuck with me, because it really makes you question who's in control. The boy, the world, or you. Alright, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Did you notice anything I didn't? I found that this game has caused a lot of conversation, whether it's the ending, the game's themes, or something else entirely. And maybe that's the closest thing to freedom that Inside ever gives us.